Janet.
Thank you. I don't know using microphones. Hi there. Thank you very much, Eva. I'm honored to be here at the beginning of this, what I'm calling Saloon Poetry at Noon. Poetry Saloon at Noon. Hopefully this will be going on for a long time, so I hope everybody comes here every week. It would be a phenomenal thing. I was able to come here because I am running a poetry open mic later on this evening. Every other Wednesday, if you go to Gallery Cabaret, you can go to the Cafe Gallery. That's at 2020 North Oakley. And it is from 7 to 9 o'clock tonight. If you want to know anything about it, you can come bug me, chaoticarts.org/lovecafe for info. And I'm talking a lot. I have been writing, as of late, a lot of poetry about the periodic table. For some reason, I decided I thought it would be a great idea to write a poem for every element. So I always introduce new ones at readings like this. So I'm going to read a bunch of poems to you, and I'll probably just tell you the element before I start them off. And the music that you're going to hear in the background is music from the Ha Man of South Africa, nice and quiet in the background. It's from his 2011 Hotel Music, and I thought this was a good title, Wayward Waltz of the Fractured Wind. Oh, appropriate for the weather right now. I think I went for a walk in shorts and a tank top yesterday. I couldn't believe the weather here in Chicago. So anyway, I hope you enjoy. And this first piece is called Osmium. Hearing the word osmium and not knowing what it meant, all I could think of were the Osmonds. And then they had this crazy 1970s flashback to watching the Donnie and Marie Osmond show. When I was little, I even had the Donnie and Marie Barbie style of dolls and playset with a stage for them for singing. They had microphones, and this is the best part. They had holes through their hands so that microphones could snap into their little hands. God, blood, those holes leak blood when the Barbie and the Donnie Marie stigmata would be complete. And the Donnie Marie dolls must have had that stigmata so they could have a strong bond with that microphone, like the strong Osmond family bond. Because I'm sure a family bond is harder than anything. And no, I didn't know what osmium was, but osmium is actually a blue grade of black metal that is actually the densest metal in the periodic table. And you know, I've got a medical bracelet that I have to wear all the time. And if my medical bracelet was made out of osmium, it'd probably last forever. But then again, osmium is probably too brittle to shape into a bracelet. So I'm sure they use osmium in applications where durability and hardness are needed, like in small things like fountain pen nibs or repetitive electrical contacts. And actually, osmium is actually the least abundant element here on planet Earth, so it makes sense that it's only used in such small amounts when minute, exacting details need to last. And when it comes to the minute, osmium can also be used for fingerprint detection, and it can even give sane fatty tissue for optical and electron microscopy. So maybe if something as dense and as hard as osmium is actually quite rare here, we can grow quite a strong bond to it, even though we can only use it in such small amounts, because it'll help our lives become that much stronger. The leading here, this next one, because I was talking about the heavy things in the periodic table, I jump up to platinum, number 78. A secretary at the Chicago Board of Trade dated a trader, and he offered her an engagement ring with a solitary diamond in a thick platinum setting. Looking like white gold, platinum was more expensive, so she was pleased he spent more money on her. Well, they married, but divorced in a few years. It's a shame that marriage couldn't last as long as that platinum engagement ring made out of one of the strongest metal elements in the periodic table. I hope they returned that ring so a stronger couple could better accentuate that strong platinum ring. Since platinum is so strong and durable and resistant to heat, platinum's been used in everything from razor edges to spark plugs to catalytic converters. It's in high-accuracy electronic thermometers, and platinum parts are launched into outer space because platinum could withstand anything the universe may throw at it. But when I mentioned platinum to someone recently, the only thing they thought it was for was wealth accumulation. And I thought, for what? Like buying gold bars? Because although I've seen a lot of ads for cash for gold, I haven't seen people or places making cash for platinum calls. But wealth accumulation must be right. It has a higher value than gold, and it's also strong enough to withstand anything from wedding bands to outer space to truly withstand the test of time. Thanks. I'm so many short ones. Thank you very much. Because I just did 76 and 78, I better do 77, all these strong metal ones together. This is Iridium. I was looking for settings for just the right metal for a perfect jewelry setting. And right next to platinum in the periodic table is iridium. It's the second densest element there is, and it looks silvery white, like platinum, but also has just a hint of a gold hue to it. This sounds perfect. But wait a minute, because iridium is so hard and brittle, it would probably break apart. But one thing that's cool is that when scientists studied the Cretaceous period and the Paleogene period boundary from 65 million years ago, they found a strong layer of iridium-rich clay. And no one knows for sure, but scientist Luis Alvarez and his team theorized that a massive asteroid collision, or a comet impact, which may have driven the dinosaurs to extinction, they theorized that this interstellar object that collided with the Earth was rich in iridium, leaving iridium in the clay that separated these two geologic periods. It's just a theory, but it sounds kind of cool, and it's just one more way to find iridium so fascinating, even if I can't use it in jewelry. Now that I think about it, there might be something to this Alvarez theory, because right now there is what they call the Iridium satellite constellation, which literally is a set of satellites covering voice and data storage around the world for cell phones and mobile electronic devices. So, yeah, if iridium can relate to the change in geologic historic periods, and if it can also relate to satellites orbiting the Earth now for global communication, that's all the more reason to admire this dense, heavy element anywhere we can find it. I'm going to change the pace of my elements here. I'm going to go back down toward number 20. These are parts of the poem Calcium. Now, I know, I have to get to the right page. The media shoves it down your throats now, how important it is for women to have calcium. Don't get osteoporosis, take calcium. Drink an extra glass of milk each day. It's healthy. And you know, I take my supplements to ingest the USRDA for calcium, but I'm sure those pills barely get absorbed. And as an infant at 6 months, I even rejected drinking milk. And I can't understand why it's smart to drink milk from another species as an adult when no other species would do the same. But adults didn't suffer from osteoporosis until the 1700s. So did osteoporosis not exist till then? Then what has changed in our society that porous bones are now a real concern for older people? Just watched a documentary recently advocating a plant-based diet that talked about the global promotion of meat consumption to get enough protein. Now, I know excess protein consumption can pull the calcium from your bones, but this documentary showed how China had lived for millennia without excess red meat or processed food. And now with dietary modern luxuries in China, along with new record highs for heart attacks, youth who were interviewed on the streets in China and asked why they needed to eat more meat. They all said, for protein. So when calcium is usually found in milk or cheese, animal products, how can vegans with a plant-based diet get enough calcium to save them from bone decay? Now, calcium is chiefly found in sedimentary rocks, and we even use calcium in construction. It makes sense if we need it for stronger bones. Calcium carbonate is used in concrete and mortar and limestone. Calcium is even in glass manufacturing. Then again, calcium arsenate is an insecticide. Calcium carbonate is in acrylic torches. And of course, Calcium's in animal feed and in vitamin pills. Now, 90% of all of our calcium is in our bones and our teeth, which we want to keep strong. And calcium can stop osteoporosis or even rickets or difficulty with blood clotting. And here's the weird one. You can actually get calcium in egg shells. Just grind them up for more calcium in your diet. And calcium is also used in making cheese. Calcium ions actually make the milk coagulate, which is kind of cool for this pizzatarian. But if calcium's in cheese and eggs, can a plant-based diet provide enough calcium? Well, I know vegetables do contain some calcium, and I know that soy milk and other vegetables are fortified with calcium, but it's also good to know that calcium sulfate's been used for millennia to coagulate the protein-filled tofu. I know, calcium and its ions are used in a ton of different things, but it's nice to see how vegetable choices can get this vital calcium into these extended bones, too. Thank you very much. Now I thought I'd go to another C element. This is number 17. This is chlorine. My dad ran a construction company, and after building our house, he later built a swimming pool in our backyard. After that, my brother even got a diving scholarship to college, and he even competed against Olympic diver Greg Louganis. But every summer, after filling the pool with water and adding chlorine, my best friend would come over to play in the chlorinated pool every day. Even as a toddler, with this mortal fear of rolling backwards into a vat of chlorine, my sister would have to reteach me every year how to back dive into the chlorinated pool. But with my dad retired in Florida, I visit him during the cold Chicago winters and sit by the pool, where the chlorine actually smells good in the 100-degree heat. But of course the chlorine would smell good. Chlorine's even used in drinking water. We use chlorine in pools when chlorine's usually found in salts, like in the earth as well as the oceans, like the Dead Sea. Because just smell it, too much chlorine is a really bad thing. And this element as a gas was even a weapon in World War I. The Germans used Bertha light bombs, which smelled like pepper and pineapple, actually. And chlorine bombs were even used in the Iraq War. So, yeah, chlorine might not be good for you, but in just the right amounts, chlorine can actually kill off what might be bad for you, too. And I'm sorry, but that swimming pool was just way too much fun to get rid of chlorine altogether. This is fun. I'll go from one thing that could be poisonous to one thing you really think is poisonous. This is number 33 in the periodic table. This is arsenic. Poisonous arsenic is used in paints, dyes, metals, drugs, soaps, even animal feeding operations. We seem to hunt down ways to kill ourselves, don't we? Dukes to kings were poisoned with arsenic. Impressionist painters painted with arsenic-laced emerald green paint, which caused diabetes and blindness. Then I heard NASA announce that arsenic-based life forms were discovered on Earth. But how could something that kills actually help produce life? Now, in order for life to exist, we need 6 elements: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. Well, NASA scientists checked to see if any bacterium could ever live in an arsenic-flooded environment. So they went to Mono Lake, California, to see if anything could survive there with its surplus of salts and its excesses of arsenic. So NASA pulled phosphorus from that elemental sextet of life, and lo and behold, a minute species used arsenic instead of phosphorus there. And at Mono Lake, it thrived there quite nicely. So I suppose NASA found one more bizarre life in California that we weren't used to. Darwinism may show that species can adapt to survive, because who knows, arsenic in place of phosphorus on Earth may date back to the origin of life, where it may have occurred in arsenic-rich hydrothermal vents. And I don't know if we want to create arsenic life forms here on Earth, but knowing this is possible increases the probability of finding life elsewhere in the universe. And it's nice to know that we're looking at all possibilities for looking for what is ultimately good to find life in this universe. This one I was trying to even remember today, and I was like, oh yes, it's zinc. This is number 30 in the periodic table. The prescription drugs I have to live on suppress my immune system, so I have to get more religious about taking more vitamins and minerals. Time to OD on vitamin C, take my daily B, E, get everything from A to zinc. It's funny, I see zinc throat lozenges for colds, so I should hedge my bets and take zinc every day. My sister was stunned when she heard this. You can take that much? I can't take zinc daily. But the thing is, zinc is in almost 100 enzymes needed for plant and animal life. Besides, when cold season comes, I see more and more ads for zinc in lozenges and OTC medications. But since the element zinc is so hard and brittle, too much zinc can sap the copper from our bodies, and we need these metal elements coursing through our bones. And soil with too much zinc could mean that the plants that we eat won't absorb the other metals that they need. And it's funny, since it was discovered in the 1700s, alchemists used to burn zinc from the air to get what they called white snow, or philosopher's wool, because it collected in puffs. Philosopher's wool. Maybe I can wax philosophic about how zinc, this philosopher's wool, can protect my immune system and help me grapple with more philosophical questions in life. But then, the Germans discovered that zinc is a great anti-corrosive agent, more reactive than iron or steel. It stops metals from corroding. It can even stop wood from catching fire. But we need zinc within us as well as around what we need. I don't know. I'm just glad that my stomach doesn't react badly to taking zinc supplements daily, because since I want to make sure that I'm as healthy as I can be for as long as I can be, taking more of a metallic element like zinc than the average person does really is a small price to pay. I got to read some of these on WZRD Radio to hype this event last Saturday evening with host Kathleen Chan-Meyer-Bartels. And one thing that I didn't get to read then, which I'm going to give edited versions to of you for now, is number sulfur. There's number 16 in the periodic table, that's sulfur. You always had such a caustic smell, but you gave me the bleached paper. You were the fixing agent when I made photography prints. You were good for the plants under my feet, but still, I knew you threw yourself into the drugs that I needed to take, giving me a rash all over my body. Even though I know you're needed for life by many small organisms, you're even supposed to keep my skin and hair healthy. Then why did I react to you so violently? I mean, my hair's not brittle, my skin's not falling off, but a rash? Well, I suppose too much of you for me could be a bad thing. I know, you did your best to make yourself known. You're in the Torah, you're in the Bible. But what I found was funny is that, like all religions, which can seem good but are also caustic, you also can make the best gunpowder historically throughout the world. So yeah, I guess it makes sense that if you want to have that much an effect on me and the rest of the world through history, you'd even find your way into religious books so that you could really remind us of how you can really make yourself known. Thank you. I got one more and the short one here, and this is silver. I've just got 3 verses I'm going to read for you. Silver, mixed with other metals, can make amalgams for people like me with too many cavities to count. But silver might be a worthwhile metal element, but I was relieved when the dentist fixed those fillings with an amalgam matching the color of my teeth. I worked for years for a minor in photography in college, with photojournalism to portraiture to political to art photography. I'd wind my own film, coated with an emulsion containing light-sensitive silver halide salts. I loved working in that dark room, seeing images appear that I captured with my silver emulsion film. I collected silver coins from around the globe for years, but my mother, years ago, played the dollar slots in Vegas, back in the day when the slot machines actually paid coins directly to you and didn't give you money on a card that you needed to cash in. And she won tons of old silver dollars once. For decades, she kept a jar in the cabinet in the kitchen that was actually labeled Ma, and it was filled with these silver dollars. The silver dollars were given to me after she passed away, and now I have stacks of these century-old silver dollars displayed with all my other silver and metal coins from around the world. I know the 1888 silver dollar my mom won is so worn that it can't be worth much, but trust me, in my opinion, it's priceless. Thank you. I bet you guys enjoyed the video science lesson at the same time. Thank you.